Hey guys, welcome back to a tutorial on creating Tetris within Minecraft. And the where we left last time was we had just created a move row down a particular distance, which is going to help us in pretty obvious ways for Tetris. So we need to move rows down once we clear rows when we place blocks and have like a full, Tetris row. Okay, so and what I asked you guys to do in the last one as sort of homework is to try and build a implementation of the move rows down function, which will call move rows down a number of times on a certain chunk of blocks. So, and I created a handy way of testing it. So here's a chunk of 2 blocks that we can move move down a particular distance. So let's try it here. So we could try it with we'll move down a distance of 2, that's what this first parameter represents, and we'll move the chunk size 2 down. So it should end up that this chunk of blocks ends up being, or this block that I'm pointing at right now, this light gray block, ends up being 2 below itself. Okay, so we ran it, and lo and behold, 1, 2. There's that block that we were on, and the chunk size is indeed 2. Okay, so we can try it even further by changing the chunk size. Let's try the chunk size of 3, and let's see if we could even move it in. Oops, I left that parameter out, so we got that error. Let's try if we do a negative number. So this should theoretically move these blocks up a distance of 3, or this block that I'm pointing at should move up a distance of 3, and then the respective rows should actually move up a distance of 3. Okay, let's try it. Whoa, it actually worked. That's kind of cool, including the TNT. All right, kind of cool. And then let's try moving it back down a distance of 3. Bada bing, bada boom, it worked. So, all right, so that's working great. And I can see already how we're going to be able to use this. Because if we get like a row clear where, let's say, we place an I block. Let's say this is our game board. We got like TNT here. And we place an I block down here at the end, right here. And there's, let's say there's a, oops. Oopsies. I'm not meaning to do any of that. All right, so let's say we place an I block right here, so it does a 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's like a full Tetris. That's like the max bonus you can possibly score on Tetris. But on the top of this, there's like this sort of funky thing going on the top. Then what our program should do is 1, 2, 3, 4. It should clear all these blocks. So we can just try it, sort of like as if we're playing it. It should clear all of those. Oh wait, we need one more. One more. Doot doot doot. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. We should end up calling our move blocks down on this block with a scan drone that starts out on this block, and it should move down a distance of 4, and it should move a chunk size of 3. Bada bing, bada boom. Once again, it worked. Cool. So we can already we can already imagine and see how we're going to use this function. All right, so let's switch over to the code and take a look at it. I don't know why I started saying bada bing, bada boom either. But anyway, yeah, here's the move blocks down function right here. We got our scan drone, got our distance and chunk size being passed in. And notice the chunk size is going into a parameter called ceiling. And that's just an example of how you don't have to have the name of the variable you're passing into the function as an argument match the name of your parameter. Doesn't have to match the name. Oftentimes you'll want the type to match. You want it to be an integer when you expect it to be an integer, but you don't have to have the name be the same every time. I'm just calling it chunk size because I should have named that parameter chunk size. All right, so let's take a look at the move blocks down function here. Here's our move blocks down. So we're passing in our scan drone distance and ceiling. So our drone, we're essentially duplicating it so we don't have to worry about at the end moving the scan drone back to its original location. So we're creating a drone and moving that drone to the scan drone's location. And then we're setting up a loop here with the index and a while loop. It's just a different way of using or implementing like a repeat number of times. This is the same thing as saying repeat ceiling times. So it's just it's like a longer, more difficult way to do a repeat ceiling times. And I'm kind of wondering why I even did this in the first place. I have the feeling when I first was doing it, I was thinking I would need this index for something, which a lot of times you'll need that index as a variable for some reason. But here I'm not actually really using the index in anywhere except as a mechanic to get this loop going. Okay, so anyway, all this is going to do is it's going to repeat a number of times, ceiling times, and it's going to call our move row down function repeatedly, ceiling times. It's going to call it, and then it's going to move our drone up distance 1 and call it again for however many times you pass in as the ceiling. Okay, so that is the move blocks down function, and then in the next tutorial we are actually going to put all of this together in our game loop in our main function that we built from scratch, and or rather in our game loop test function. We're going to put all this stuff together and finally have really kind of like a cool prototype, and then we'll do one more follow-up video after that, and then we'll be done. All right, thanks for watching, guys.